Welcome to the More Than Just a Doctor podcast. I'm your host, Lil Suprenant, MD. I'm a life coach for physicians, a practicing hospitalist, a wife, a mom of 2 boys, a reader, a dancer, a dolphin enthusiast, and all the things. Just like me, you're more than just a doctor, and that's what we're going to talk about each week. Doctor stuff, regular life stuff, and all the things that make life rich and interesting. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Hello, my friends. I'm Lil Suprenant. I'm your host of More Than Just a Doctor podcast. This is episode number 8. Today, I'm going to start the first in a series on creating satisfaction at work. This is a topic I love to think about myself. I love to coach my physician clients on this. And I'm a big believer that we have a ton of power to create our own satisfaction. We really have a lot of responsibility for our own happiness at work. And so I'm going to start today with the idea of enjoying your mastery as a way to create your own satisfaction at work. So I do think it's a little ironic. The title of this podcast is More Than Just a Doctor, and I've been talking about a bunch of doctor stuff. But I actually think that this issue of having dissatisfaction at work, being unhappy with your work, feeling overwhelmed, having it take up a lot of time and headspace, if we don't get that sorted, it actually bleeds into the rest of our life and colors it and keeps us from really enjoying the rest of our life. So I think it's really important to sort of sort out your work stuff, get as happy and satisfied with that as you can so that you can start ramping up your happiness in the rest of your life. So back to today. So we're going to talk about mastery. And mastery, I looked up the definition, it's comprehensive knowledge or skill in a subject or accomplishment. The other piece of the definition, other alternate definition, is control over someone or something. When I think about mastery in this context for what we're talking about today, I'm not talking about that big mastery where I'm the best neurosurgeon in the whole Southeast, the mastery of the whole body of your specialty. A lot of us feel, there's always something to work on. But where I want us to really focus on is the mastery on mini mastery. So I like to think about what do I enjoy being good at work. So we're good at a lot of things at work, and that's a really long list. Even if you think you suck, I'm sure you're good at a lot of things at work. But I really want you to think about the things that you're good at and you can consciously enjoy being good at. So I made a list of some of mine, and then I have some from people who are not in my specialty. Okay, so I'm a hospitalist primarily, work-wise. And one of the things that I take pleasure in being good at, this is going to sound really dumb, because now you can have it done on the algorithm, but it's not nearly as good. I take pleasure in being really good at potassium replacement. I know in my sleep how to replace potassium, how to write the order in the computer, like how to get that done. And I get to enjoy being really good at that simple but totally useful thing. Another thing a little more complex, or a good bit more complex depending on the patient. I'm really good at inpatient diabetes management. I can look at the person, take the history, and many, many times, predict like, okay, we cannot give that much insulin here in the hospital. Nobody likes the food that much, that sort of stuff. And then the day-to-day adjustment, I'm really good at it. I really enjoy being good at it. It's a little thing that I can take pleasure in, feeling a mastery. Okay, here's a bigger thing, and this is a little less concrete, but one of the pieces of mastery, I've been an attending physician for 23 years now. But one of the things that I'm really good at this point is that sick, not sick. You know, when you go into a room and I look at the patient and I'm like, holy shit, this person is really sick. You know, and I got to do something. This is serious. I can take pleasure not in the fact that the patient is sick or not sick, but I take pleasure in that sense of mastery, that that's a skill I have. So sick, not sick. Another piece of mastery that I really enjoy, and you guys know if you've listened to the friendship series, I really value relationships. So one of the things that I really enjoy being good at is knowing how to get something done in the hospital. So there's a big difference, as you all know, from knowing what to do and then knowing how to get it done in the hospital. So for instance, getting someone transferred to the ICU. Of course, even if you didn't know how to get it done in your hospital, if you're a locum from day one, you could get someone transferred. But there's a pleasure in having everybody's number in your cell phone, knowing the number to the ICU attending or APP phone, and being able to pick up the phone. 90% of the time, I know the person on the other end and they know me. And I'm like, hey, this dude's sick, needs to come right now. And they say yes, because we have a relationship. I know how to get that done. You know, I tell the rapid nurse who's typically already in the room, and I take, after it's all done, I get to enjoy that I know how to get things done. And there's even like little things like knowing that you're going to need to sign a specific form for discharge for transfer to a nursing home. Like there's enjoyment to be had in recognizing that mastery. So these are all little things, but part of the way that we get to have a good day and enjoy our work is noticing all these things and actively looking for ways where we can enjoy our work. And so noticing mastery is one. Okay, so not me. Like this is not something I'm any good at or take any pleasure in mastery, but I have a friend, so I'm reaching out. I'm thinking of other specialties now, if you don't relate to hospitalists. I have a very dear friend who is an excellent outpatient family practice doctor. And one of the things that she takes pleasure and mastery over is she really has dialed in all the preventive care. Her patients in the place that she had worked for 15 years, her numbers for percent mammogram, colonoscopies, vaccinations on schedule are always at the top. And she really takes pleasure in that on the day-to-day. And one of the thoughts that fuel the satisfaction is, I love this thought, I help keep the bad things from happening. So she gets to associate ordering a mammogram, which can, you know, it's just another click sometimes, with keeping bad things from happening to her patient. So that's a different type of feeling of mastery than I have. If you're a surgeon or a proceduralist, here's where you want to think about your specific procedures and surgeries you do, specific things in the process of taking care of patients. For instance, okay, this is back to my experience, but I think surgeons do this too. One of the things that I do enjoy being good at is setting expectations. And by that, I mean, if I have a feel, sometimes we just don't. You know, patients are complicated and sick, and I have no idea when they're going to get better or get out of the hospital, all that unknown. But sometimes you really do. Someone's in with UTI with sepsis, and it's pretty much all that's wrong. I love to tell them you're going to feel terrible for the next 24 hours. I don't expect these antibiotics to kick in. You're going to feel bad, but then it's going to kick in, about 24, 36 hours, and you're going to feel better. So that's really fun for me to set that expectation. I like to start with the doom and gloom. You're going to feel bad. And then come around the next day and, or the day after and be right and get to enjoy that. Enjoy that with the patient, follow that process along. But back to procedures and surgery, it doesn't have to be some giant thing. It doesn't have to be, colectomy surgery. The thing that you can enjoy being good at can be that your stitches always look pretty, and you can enjoy doing the stitches. You can enjoy the look afterwards, and you can enjoy looking at them at the post-op visit. All this stuff is in our power to notice and, again, like fluff up our feelings of satisfaction. So I'm going to make a suggestion. If this is of any interest to you, if you would like to create more satisfaction at work, make a list on paper, like actually write this down, of things that you're good at work that you enjoy being good at with. If you've never thought about this, your list in the beginning might be really short because you probably never thought about this. And so, but start the list, keep the list where you can add to it, and grow the list. So as you go about your workday, now you'll be asking the question, like, when, what am I good at and what do I enjoy being good at? And so then you can add to the list. And then once you have the list, you notice things more on the day-to-day. And that's my first piece of creating satisfaction at work. I hope that this is helpful to someone. You guys have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you like this episode, you're going to love working with me directly. Sign up for email updates from me in the show notes. I'll send you a fun email every week called Friday Favorites. Everyone loves it. Or if you're ready to get started creating your rich and interesting life, book a free consultation with me to explore working together one-on-one. I can't wait to meet you. You'll find these links and other resources in the show notes. See you next week.